Tom assumed command of Central Command, we moved to Tampa, Florida. There were many major responsibilities and big decisions that he made before 9/11/01, but we were a nation at peace. So the first year and a half of that command, we spent a lot of time traveling, visiting the countries of the Central Command region to establish relationships. I'm looking at my friend Joe, because that's one of his favorite phrases, to establish relationships, and that's exactly what we were doing. Tom always had meetings with the presidents or the kings of the countries and their military leaders. There were usually state dinners, and I met with both the American wives of the military who were stationed in these countries and also the civilian, the country leaders. I could learn things from meetings separately that he might not learn, and I don't mean state secrets, but insights. The American wives would let me know if they had issues with schools or with health care, and then I could bring them to my husband's attention. Tom always told me that he considered me an asset on these trips. So on September 11th, we were together in Greece, going to visit Pakistan, which we had visited before, and I was looking forward to seeing my friend, Begum Musharraf, the wife of President Musharraf of Pakistan. We had been on the ground about an hour when we had to knock on the door, telling us to turn on the TV. Tom told you about that part, so I'm going to skip to the part when we were ready to leave Greece, when Tom wanted to get back. We didn't have permission because all the air traffic over the United States coming in and out of the United States was closed. So Tom ordered the flight crew to make plans to return to the U.S. These were Air Force pilots, wonderful. Their answer was that we could not take off from Greece because we didn't have permission to land. So you don't take off from a place if you're not going to land someplace. As a former teacher, my reaction is always to follow rules. Okay, we can't take off, I understand. I thought we would go back to the hotel. That was not Tom's reaction. He knew he needed to get back to headquarters. He ordered the pilots to take off and begin the flight and told them to keep trying to get permission to land, and we would go wherever we could. The pilots did not like that idea, but since Tom outranked them, we took off. About halfway through our flight, when we were over the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, I checked with the navigator and asked if we had permission to land yet. He said no. And then he stated a phrase that I will always remember. There is no traffic over the Atlantic. Between Europe and the United States is the busiest air corridor in the world, and we were the only plane in the air. About an hour before we reached the coast, our pilot came back and told us we had received permission to land. We landed and Tom immediately went into meetings. I didn't see him again for a few days. At that time, we lived in designated quarters for the CENTCOM commanders, which was a secure military base. But during that one day that we had been away, when we arrived home, our house had been surrounded by concrete barriers, and we had 24-hour military police walking around our house. Every few days, I would bake chocolate chip cookies and walk out to the guards and thank them. This became our routine for the next 2 years, Tom working and me baking cookies. It's important to do what you can, even if it is only baking cookies. Thank you.